Yo, what is up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. So, in today's video, I'm just going to basically be breaking down GJ, GU, I don't know why G is not in there, gold, um, maybe USDJPY, and then NU and AC. So, basically, what we've got here, let me just put on GU for a second. Okay, we're gonna start off on GJ because this is the cleanest pair I can see right now. Let's just start off on the weekly, in fact. Hide the drawing for a second. You can tell that obviously for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, we've basically been pushing up bullish and breaking structure to the upside. Now, as you can tell, we've had the wick to the downside, and like we expected, we'd obviously have this retest of some sort before we continue pushing up. Now, I wouldn't class this exactly as a retest just because structure hasn't been tested exactly. 158 would be a real test of this level, but we haven't actually done that just yet. Instead, what we kind of have formed is a 3 pin bar reversal, except I would have liked this candle over here to be a lot stronger and potentially even like filled like something like this, right? In the final lower third of the wick. But as you can tell, we've pretty much closed. I mean, that's, I'd say, roughly around halfway. Let me just turn the drawings off from the top, not even less than halfway. So I mean, that's just like 560, so 250, call it. Yeah, we've closed way above that. So I mean, it's not the strongest bearish candle to tell us that price is going to continue lower. However, if we drop down into the smaller time frames, you can see something starting to form here. Now, people may think, it's all just bearish right now, but just because of these, sells to the downside. But one thing you have to understand is this wick to the upside here. Now, if I turn the drawings back on, I sent this over to the group just a few days ago. You can see that we're pretty much forming a head and shoulders pattern. So you can see right here, we have the left shoulder, the head, and the potential right shoulder right there. A nice clean wick rejection to this side up here on what's it, 164. Broke above it. We didn't get to retest it as support and then continue. Instead, we broke below it, and now we're retesting it as resistance yet again. So now that you can see that we've had a wick rejection to the upside and a wick rejection again on Friday, we can expect price to know what does this tell us in terms of a story? Well, it tells us that price to the upside in terms of bullish strength is actually weakening. So we can now expect sellers momentum to sort of kick in. Now we drop down into the 4 hour. Again, what can we see here? We hit price right there, and price had an automatic rejection right to the downside. However, it failed to create a lower low in terms of actually making a low below this resistance. So a support level over here, we actually didn't close below it. What I would have liked to have seen is basically a break below this level, a retest of this level, and then a continuation to the downside. Now, what can we tell here? Not much of the clean. It's not the cleanest structure right here, but we can definitely tell we are a little bit of in a range. And what I was hoping for, which we actually did get, but I wasn't actively trading and looking at GJ at the time, which is basically, if I just pull out the tool here, on the right shoulder here, so it's broken down. Now I've come back up, and what I was hoping for was basically a double top, then a break, retest, and continuation. I was actually hoping to catch this move right over here, which actually played out a little bit here, but it wasn't the best entry signal that I was looking for. I prefer to see some sort of a higher retest over here, and then a rejection candle, and then an engulfing, or pretty much what we had here, but just a bit higher up is what I would have wanted ideally. And as you can tell, it wasn't the strongest rejection. As you can tell, we didn't actually break below this previous low. However, what we have done is on the smaller time frames, like the 15 minute, is over here we did actually print a engulfing candle to the downside, indicating a lot of selling momentum. So what you could have done here actually at the time was put our stops there. I mean, sell position right here, and then look to target this low over here for a nice 1 to 2, and that would have actually been sniped pretty nicely. But obviously, right now, I want to look for a trade which we can actually scale into and actually hold for the big drop ideally. Now, it actually did play in our favor a little bit, the fact that we didn't catch this move, just because prices is still in a range. So if we did take this trade over here, we'd be have lost quite a lot of profits right here and unsure whether price is actually going to take out this low or not. So the confirmed entry and the confirmed trade idea, which is actually a more higher probability setup, would simply just be a retest of this zone which we've had, another retest which we've just had recently, and then actually a break of this zone, a retest and continuation, and by then hopefully we could even have the EMA sort of supporting us to the downside as an extra bit of confluence. And what else have we got here? Just basic market structure. We have a very simple high in the market, a low, a lower high, and then a lower low. This is now the 3-leg extension, so 1, 2, 3, and then we can actually take the retest right over here, very clean trade, then look to take out and target this next level of structure. And that is a very established level of support, which if we are to think of this as like a high probability head and shoulders, which it does very much look like, since we've actually tested the shoulder very pretty much exactly on that same level. We could definitely expect, if I just get this too low, I definitely expect a break of this level, a retest, and then actually a further continuation back down over to this level of structure over here for 157, or potentially even these levels of structure around over here. So it's just very interesting right now what we're going to have on GJ. But the one thing is, we do have to wait for a little bit of confirmation. This zone right over here is the key level. However, if we don't break this zone, we can definitely expect price to break above this level, retest it, and then continue back over to 168,700 as the long-term target. So we've basically got ourselves a very nice scenario over here with GJ. Sells to the downside as long as we can break 62,300 or 500, whatever you want to call it. Retest it as a previous level of support, which turns into resistance, and then look to take price down to 159 or below. If we do break above this level, however, on market open, we could potentially look to take a retest at this level of structure here and then go long. Now with GU, very slow pair, but as you can tell on the daily candle, the daily time frame, we pretty much made an engulfing candle over here, which is pretty nice. I mean, we want to see that finally, because we've been bearish for the last few weeks, and we've actually come back down to these levels of structure over here. So if I turn the body chart on, you can see basically these previous levels of structure. If I just bring it a bit lower, in fact, you can see this level of resistance. Then we broke above it, broke below it, and then we had it over here, a bit of rejection to the downside. If I turn the wicks back on, yeah, you can see a little bit more clearer here. Resistance there, support, and then a little bit of support around here, and then price took off again. So let me just take the drawings back off. Have a look at this area here, and remember what we had in ideally, guys, in terms of a target was basically this level over here. Now I've got the zones already marked up, and as you can tell, we've actually started to make higher highs in the market. So what we can definitely expect right now is a retest of this zone over here, or a little bit deeper, just to make that maybe potential inverted head and shoulders. If I just turn this around here, I wouldn't really call it inverted head and shoulders, just more of a retest of this structure level here. So if I just turn this on here, like something more like this. So I'd prefer price to have a retest here and go long, or potentially even to this level of structure here and then continue long again. So yeah, pretty nice scenarios right now for GU and GJ. As for gold, what do we have here on the weekly time frame? Very much bearish for now on the weekly time frame. Two bearish candles right here, taking out lows in the market as well. Drop down into the daily time frame, you can see that price has made kind of like a double bottom here, made when it moved to the upside. So if I had to draw this out for you guys, oops, low, lower high, equal low, then higher high, lower low. So this is the most recent move in market structure, and what we've had now is a nice wick rejection to the upside, which is a very strong level of support, which can now definitely be turned into resistance. So what we can expect right here is potentially a similar scenario with GJ, is a move to downside, a retest of this level, ideally a lower high version of this, but as long as we tap into this area and show a wick rejection, and then we can either catch this right double top, the second leg of the double top, with an entry signal like a bearish engulfing, and then look to take price lower. And if we miss this move, we can definitely look to take price as a retest over here and then go lower. Again, if we miss that move as well, we can look for this move over here also. Now, one thing I was going to say, yeah, in terms of a short position here, we could obviously look for a short here, put our stops above the previous high, and then look to target this low over here, depending on obviously where the entry signal is. That might give us a 1 to 2. If not, ideally, I wouldn't even really, I mean, I could class this as a level of structure, but ideally, if that does occur, we'll most likely end up hitting this level of structure over here. So it's all just about patience now, waiting for these levels of structure to be retested. UJ, now I'm going to leave that alone, it's not the cleanest pair. NZD USD on the weekly time frame, we've actually broken below a very strong level of support, also around psychological level 165,500, which is a very strong level of support, as you guys can see across here. Support around here, price came pretty much to retest it over there, but kind of missed out. Price sat at this level over here, then moved to the upside, broke below it, came back above, and then we've had a rejection over here to the upside, rejection to the downside, a double bottom form on there, another retest over here, and then price flew, rejection over here. So what are the chances now that we've broken this level of support? We can definitely continue lower, but we'll definitely retest this level of structure and then come down further. Now, we don't have to actually come down further. I think I just made a mistake there. We can definitely come retest this area, have a show a bit of rejections, a break above, then retest it support, and then go long. That's also a very high probability move that can occur on NZD USD. So on the daily time frame again, we have actually had a wick rejection there, but I wouldn't class that as a real move. we've had, again, a move around here, but look how weak in terms of the price action signals were. There wasn't engulfings, there wasn't any strong moves to the downside until around here. So it wasn't a very, it wasn't the easiest trade to catch. But yeah, again, we'll be waiting for another retest of this zone, most likely on like the 4 hour time frame. So potentially creating maybe like a little move again to the upside, or a lower high version of this, and then a break below, retest and continuation. So this would be a pretty high probability setup as well with NZD USD. Now, when it comes to AUD CHF, we actually took this position on the, let me have a look around here. We actually took this position, I remember, on the signals chart. You can see around here, AUD USD sell, and then obviously it was very much faking us out to, every other side. Now, we hit TP1, and usually when we hit TP1, what we like to do is move stops to break even and, close out some of the position there. Now, it was obviously stuck in this range over here, which in essence it was actually retesting this daily level of structure and provided some very, very, very nice entry signals over here for us. Broke to the downside, wick rejection, and now what we can definitely expect is a break below these lows, a retest and continuation, or on the smaller time frames like this right now, on the 4 hour or the 1 hour, in fact, sorry, we can definitely expect price, now that's broken down, one more retest of this level and continue, and then we'll actually have this time the EMA supporting us. The only difference we had between this move here and these moves over here, which we were stuck in, was the fact that you can see it clear as day around here. You can see right here, the engulfing candle printed perfectly right after we rejected a level of resistance. So that's pretty much it, guys. We're going to be looking for these moves over here, and I will send the screenshots closer to London session. I'll see you guys then shortly.